A classic has returned from the year 2000. For those of you guys old enough to remember, Vince Carter rocked these guys in the 2000 NBA Slam Dunk Contest, and it was amazing. That was actually his nickname back then. Half man, half amazing. He's still half amazing because the dude's hella old and still getting it done. For those of you guys that don't know, this is the AND1 Tai Chi. No, it's not a Walmart sneaker. I know that that's like the thing to say. Isn't that super rude? Like,
it is really demeaning.
It's like super rude. Like, have a little bit of class. You know what I'm saying?
Especially the average person purchases so much from Walmart and Target. So like...
Well, like, why would you like it? Like how you were saying, demeaning, like why would you demean somebody that's less fortunate than you?
Right.
You know, like if they happen to only be able to afford Walmart shoes, like what's wrong with that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what AND1 thought that they were doing. That's what Shaq is doing by making their low budget, you know, shoes for everybody. There's nothing wrong with it. But these guys are not the Walmart versions of AND1 shoes, for anybody curious. A lot of you younger guys, it's gonna go way over your head. For those of you that are my age, you already know what's up. Like I said before, Vince Carter rocked these guys in the 2000 NBA All-Star Weekend, or the NBA Slam Dunk Contest, and it was, I mean, I remember specifically watching that slam dunk contest with my friends, and Vince Carter was just amazing, man. The guy could fly. Like, I thought back then, like, Jordan was like it as far as like bounce and everything, but Vince was something else, dude. Like, I can't even put it into words. You have to go back and watch it. It's still one of the best slam dunk contests ever.
Are you gonna put in a clip?
Should I?
Yeah.
Insert clip now.
He incurred an injury dealing with weights in the weight room, so he's stitched up in the left hand doing all this. Oh, it did not. It's over, ladies and gentlemen.
Now the story goes, back then in the year 2000, Puma was actually like Vince's like brand. Like that's who he was signed with. And Vince's like relationship with Puma was really like on the bottom end of the totem pole. Like he was just not feeling the brand, he was not feeling the shoes. I guess there was like soured relationships within everything. And so what he ended up doing while signed with Puma is lace these things up for that dunk contest, which is kind of disrespectful.
Yeah.
And you're breaching your contract. Like there's literally like still like bad blood between Vince and Puma, which is, you know, I mean, shit happens. But that's like the story of how these things made it into All-Star Weekend that year. And ever since then, again, these have just been kind of like heralded as like one of the best basketball shoes, period. Especially not coming from like a Nike or Jordan or Reebok even at the time, which is pretty impressive. These guys right here, it's not the first time that they've re-released. If you've been watching our channel, I actually grabbed the, I can't remember what it was. I think it was the 20th anniversary of the shoe, and it was the white and black version. This is clearly the white and red version. It's one of the more, I wouldn't say classic colorways, but it is like the colorway of the shoe. My brother, Justin, he had a shoe that looked just like this from AND1. I was so salty. I was so salty when he came home. John came back, he's my stepdad. He came back with, like, I was never able to get like nice shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like I had the budget, but for some reason, Justin got whatever he wanted. And if you guys have younger siblings, you probably already know what's up. So he took Justin to Foot Locker of all places. I wasn't even allowed to shop at Foot Locker. You know what I mean? Like, and because that's where they sold these, and that's where you can get the mixtapes and stuff. Those were so dope. Have you ever seen?
The mixtapes is with the...
like the street ball stuff, like the AND1 mixtapes, like they were legit. Like you had like Hot Sauce and all these dudes just like, yeah, they had like funky names, and they would just break ankles, man. It was so dope. Some of the baggiest clothes you'll ever see. Dudes were rocking them. And Justin and my stepdad went to Foot Locker of all places. They came home with this shoe that looked just like this, but it had like an airbag in the back and a strap right here. So it wasn't like the Tai Chi. I was hella mad, dude. Like I was like, yo, I can't even get a nice pair of sneakers and you went and bought him.
Did you pull like an ugly stepsister and try and shove your foot in there?
They were my size.
Oh.
That was the weird part, because like my brother's taller than me. Like he's my stepbrother, so we're not like blood related. And I was just mad, dude. Like I was just like, man, for real, like I'm sitting here like trying to scrounge around trying to find $40 sneakers, and you went and got him $90 AND1s. Like I was so butthurt, dude. Super butthurt. Sneakerhead problems. Now bringing it back to this actual shoe, these guys feature premium leather, which is quite a surprise actually. And then the interior panel is a really nice suede. There is like color bleeding and things like that, but that's what happens when you dye real materials. Like there is gonna be some faded in color, or fading color. Something I'm not feeling are the laces. They did make them look like the original laces, and these joints are long as hell, man. When you tie these things up, like I had to tuck these into the laces themselves so they wouldn't like flop around. I thought I was gonna trip over my own own self. But they tried to make these laces look like they used to, and they just kind of look a little cheap, like they almost look like they're pink. And it's because the laces are all red and then they threaded the white over the red, which is just weird. It used to be like a perfect split, half and half. I don't think they actually make these laces anymore, so they had to like figure out a way to remanufacture them. They still have some of the OG features like that chrome shank plate, as well as the 3M basketball right there on the heel. And also the originals had a white liner, whereas these guys have a red liner. The traction was also different on the originals. They were kind of like nubs. They've switched that since then with herringbone, which I think is a great thing. And I have already taken these things for a spin, and they're actually comfortable, man. Like the first pair that I had, that white and black pair that I grabbed a couple years ago, I grabbed them in my true size, and I did not know at the time because it was my first pair of AND1s. They run hella small, man. Like I tried to play in them, and it was just like they were so tight that I was like, yo, I can't do this. So this guy right here, I bought a half a size up from my regular size. Lengthwise, they fit perfectly. Widthwise, wide footers are gonna love these things, man. Like this shoe, when I put my foot in there, it just feels like there's just so much space. Like I could have had like 2 of my feet in there and it would have been cool. So when I lace these things up, I did have to wrench the laces up pretty tight just to get that fit that I like. And I will say they were so much fun to play in, even though the court that I was playing on was complete crap. Like that floor is one of the worst ones ever. Like it's rare for a shoe to really grip that floor. These guys, while I had to wipe constantly, they still were able to grip a little bit. And like I was saying, they were super comfortable. The midsole itself is EVA, so it's like if you were to take that into Nike terms, it would just be Phylon. But what they've ended up doing is beefing up the insoles. So you have additional cushion at the heel and forefoot, and then the actual liner inside is more cushion. So the footbed in there actually feels nice. Like it does not feel like a cheap basic Phylon. It actually feels, I would say, like closer to Cushlon, where it's got a little bit of like, not mush, but a little bit of bounce back. One thing I will say that I wish the shoe had was bungees in the tongue, because this tongue is just by itself, so it will slide in and out. Not in and out, but over and around and all that stuff, and I don't like when tongues do that, but it is very reminiscent of the 90s, because that's exactly what would happen back then. Even though this was from 2000, I know, which is only 1 year later, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like that far off.
No,
it's still
well, there's a meme.
That 90s flair.
There's a meme of the chick from Lizzie McGuire, and it's with her butterfly clips and everything, and it's a picture from 2003, and it says the early 2000s were basically the 90s still.
Oh, for sure. Just like the early 90s were still the 80s.
Right.
Like it was like the transition hadn't happened yet.
Right.
You don't really get into the 90s until like 95.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless we're talking about Ninja Turtles, and then that's like 91. Favorite movie of all time.
Are you gonna change out your laces?
To what?
Well, you can't wear those casually.
Say what?
With those laces?
Why not?
You don't tie your shoes. So
you're
gonna walk around with them dragging?
I don't know. They need these laces. So I do plan on taking these things out for another spin on a nicer floor, because again, the floor that I was on was just atrocious, but the performance is just kind of like adequate. I can already tell the fit is sloppy up front, or not up front, but just around the foot. It's got a lot of dead space, which is something that I don't like. And as the leather breaks in, because it's actually nice leather, it's just gonna get more and more loose, which is again, something that I'm not a huge fan of. Cushion though, surprisingly nice for what it is, even though it's just kind of like your standard foam. But if you are interested in grabbing a pair of these, you can grab them now over at AND1.com. I grabbed mine for 90 bucks, but if you sign up for their newsletter, which I didn't know at the time, they'll give you a promo code where you can get these things for like 10 or 15% off, which I wish that I would have done, because I love saving money. But I didn't do that. Hopefully I'll do that next time if they come out with an even better colorway of this, because there's a white and royal one. Super fresh. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for all your support. Let me know what you guys think about these things. Is this 2 90s or 2 2000s for you? Let me know down below in the comment section. And until next time, guys, have a good one.
I have a question about the laces.
Just the laces?
Yeah, that's all I really have. Otherwise, I just think like it looks like other shoes, and you don't like that.
What? What do these look like?
It looks like...
It looks like the AND1 Tai Chi?
No, it looks like that basketball era. Like it looks like the Reebok questions. It looks like
No,
the Jordan. You're not telling me the toe cap? Really? If you only saw the profile view. And even then when you switch it around, it's cool that they're like, hey, let's wrap it all the way around and not just have it be a toe cap, so that it's just a ripoff of the Reebok questions.
Did you just say it's a ripoff?
I'm just saying, it looks what came first.
Still, it doesn't matter. This is a split shoe. This is before Scarface was Scarface. This Scarface sneaker thing, not the movie.
Okay.